Welcome to today's Wellbeing Provider Spotlight. I'm Natalie Gensits, wellness copywriter and coach. My ultimate purpose is to help connect those who seek wellness with those who provide it. And I currently do this in a few different ways. I work part-time for a therapy office. I'm a partner of an amazing wellness company helping people who want to be healthier get more clean, ripe fruits and veggies into your bodies. This company actually blows my expectations away. And last but my favorite, I help wellness coaches and providers find the right words, connect with wellness seekers, and grow. To me, well-being is more than physical or just mental health, though. It includes several different areas: your financial, your spiritual, professional, and relational health. So in these short segments, I want to introduce you to different well-being providers who might just be the person and help you're looking for. Today, we're in the Frederick, Maryland area, and I'm really excited to introduce you to and to welcome Jean Wright, Sales Confidence Builder. Hello, Jean. Welcome and thanks for joining.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you for having me today. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, me too. So first of all, I just want to start off, tell us something a little bit personal about you that we might not know or expect.
I started a new career for myself that I didn't even plan on. It was something that kind of took me by surprise when I decided to write a book about my sales career. And then I told stories about what it was like to be a woman selling different products and services. And then it took me to another level where I started helping women feel better about selling and how they can build their confidence. And honestly, now with knowing you and what you're doing with wellness, I didn't realize that this is really an aspect of what I'm doing now. So, voila, now I am helping women change their mindset, feel better about themselves. And I think that's a wellness type of mission that I've come to start promoting about myself. So, who knew I could do that? And people know me about, oh, yeah, that book you wrote. Oh, that's so great. It's called Selling Your Confidence. And that's what I was just planning to do, write the book and all that until I started talking to people. So it was a fun surprise to have my book lead me into this direction and meeting great people like you and finding out my mission is to help women. And so I enjoy doing that and wasn't in my plan to start with.
That's awesome. And I did read your book and do recommend it. I found it very helpful and interesting too.
Thank you.
Yes. So you told us in a little bit about what you do, but can you tell a little bit more directly? Where do you get me if I'm going from A to Z? When I start working with you, what am I trying to fix? And then what comes out of that?
I am currently working with a coach who's been helping me find my direction because I've been helping women in the past year do more with their mindset about sales and confidence. So what I'm working on now is providing women that come to me an assessment to find out where their mindset is about selling and their feelings about what they do and how they can better put themselves out there and feel good about it. So once I work on this assessment that I have, then we have a conversation about that. And I learn more about their business or who they're working for or how they're out there in the field. And I try to understand what they're doing and how they feel about it. How do you feel about selling? And you may know that you have to get money from somebody for the product and service, but that whole process before you do that, how do you feel about it so you can put your best foot forward? So I provide tips on how to handle those prospects that you're talking to, how to answer questions they bring up, how they sometimes don't always say yes, and how do we go from there, and how to close, that sort of thing. So we start from the beginning of who you are, why you're doing it, what it is you're selling, what it is we need to fine tune so that you can get through the whole sales process, but also build a relationship with people, feel better about what you're doing so you come across in a less salesy kind of way and more authentic. Start from A to Z kind of with this process.
Okay, I love that. So for me personally, you would be helping me to get over my feeling of
Right.
sales to being excited and more confident about it.
Because a lot of times there's something that's holding you back from maybe a past experience you've had with someone selling something to you. Maybe you felt manipulated or they were aggressive with you and you felt like you didn't have any control over how you were spending your money and you just handed it over. And so, why do we have those feelings about ourselves? Because basically, we've had experiences that have turned us in that direction of being negative about the whole process. So, we have to, my mission is to change that.
Yes, I think it's very much needed, especially in the health coach industry, which is a lot of the people that I work with. And I definitely think you help in a lot of different well-being areas. I think you help with personal development, your mental health, obviously, with the mindset. This can affect your financial health and your professional health too. I know I don't want to talk all about what you do. I want to let you do that more, but tell us what areas you serve in first. You can work virtually pretty much anywhere, right?
I've had a lot of experience locally in our community because I'm pretty well known for all the years I've spent in the Frederick area for my business expertise and selling experience here. So people do know me. And then when I talk to them in person, I've been able to develop relationship with people to coach them one-on-one. I'm now developing online coaching with people who aren't necessarily local. I do get involved in virtual networking groups of women. And so my program that I'm developing now for women who aren't local, who I can coach one-on-one is now, I'm going to be releasing that very soon. So I'm hoping to expand what I'm doing to help women on a one-on-one level virtually in other areas. So we can still get to know each other, even though we're not in the same room, but we can still do that virtually. And that's what I'm working on next.
Okay,
And the,
great. So tell me more. I know you can help a lot of different women with different aspects because it can be related to their work, it can be related to personal life, but tell me who is your ideal, your favorite type of client to work with?
it's usually women entrepreneurs who are maybe just starting out with their passion business. They love what they're doing, they love their product, their service, whatever it is they're offering. And they may be not so focused on selling because they don't think they like it. And it's just one more hat that they have to wear. So they tend to not want to hone their skills and how to talk to people and prospect and follow up and all those parts of the sales process. I'm there to help them with that. And if they're hiring somebody that is going to do the work for them, they may not know how to train them. And that person may not be able to do their best for them because they don't know how to go about representing their brand. So I can help in that area. And I also speak to small groups of people. It could be women and men who are on a sales team or in a retail situation where they have products that they're selling out of a brick and mortar. Those types of people as well. I can talk to groups about how to feel and train people better on selling. I start really with a lot of women one-on-one like to talk because they feel better about that one-on-one. This is my business, this is what I'm doing, and
Mhm.
we can get down to the nitty-gritty with them on their what their goals are and where they want to go with their business and be successful.
We talked a little bit about this already, but how would you sum up what problem that you solve?
Okay. So there are women that tell me, I really like talking to people and telling about what I do, but I really feel bad about asking for the money.
Okay.
Like I just don't know if I'm worthy for asking for them to give me money for what I'm going to help them with. And it comes from they don't have confidence in themselves to put themselves out there. And they sell themselves short for all the knowledge and experience that they're bringing to this, and then calling themselves the expert. This kind of puts them into this fear of selling because they feel like they have to adopt some different persona to be that person. They have to be aggressive like that person that is a salesperson, and that's how they get what they want. And honestly, they just need to be more authentic about themselves and not feel like they have to try to be somebody else. But this whole thing about asking for money and being the expert, when I wrote my book, I was told, now you're the expert on that. I said, well, I am. How am I the expert? Well, you took the time to actually analyze what it takes to be successful in selling, and you put it in paper and you're putting it out there for people to read and understand and hopefully help them. And I think when you think about yourself, maybe there are other people that do what you do, but you're bringing your personal expertise, your experience, your education, your knowledge, that no one else can match that because you're bringing yourself to your business. And it is really, people want to work with you because of what you know and what you maybe do differently than the person sitting next to you who says they're the same, they do the same thing. But you're going to bring your own personal view and your own personal experience to that client. And so why not work with me? Because you're getting to know me and I'm the one who can help you because of X, Y, and Z. I've done this for 10, 15, 20 years. I have certifications, or I have a lot of education in this area, or I've worked really hard to get a lot of clients who are really pleased with what I do. And here's some testimonials. And there's so many ways that you can show that you are worth what you're asking for.
And I love that that's a huge one, the asking for money thing. And I think even it probably goes deeper than we even realize when we're wrestling with that. And I just think I love that you encourage people to be authentic, because that's where a lot of people in this wellness industry and who are looking for wellness providers, they do want that approach. People
Yeah.
want to be, the providers want to be authentic. They don't want to be salesy, and they want to ultimately, may not realize this, but they probably want to be able to enjoy the sales part of it and not feel stuck in that.
When we say that word salesy, it's not even a word. Actually, it's just a term we've come to use to describe that person that we don't like to deal with, who is forcing us to make a sales transaction. So what I'm trying to do is turn that term around and make it an acronym for selling authentically, like everyone sees you.
Mm,
So you can still be salesy, but think of it as your authentic self, showing
okay.
yourself to the world. So let's talk about how we don't want to use that in a negative way. Let's use it in a positive way. Let's turn it around to make it feel like we are authentically showing ourselves to the world. Because if I meet you and you like me and say, let's meet again, and then I'm going to put on my sales hat and just be a little bit more informative about what it is you're going to get from me. If somebody sees me as, okay, now all of a sudden, she wasn't like that when I met her, all of a sudden she's going through this whole formula of trying to get me to say yes and sign on the dotted line. And I don't feel comfortable now because she's following this formula. Like, she's not being authentic like I thought she would be. I thought she would really want to help me and solve my problem and come across that way. That's what you want to do. Feel authentic about you helping somebody. And then it's going to be so much easier for that person to say yes to you because they want to work with you. They really do. The product is almost secondary.
Right. It
Because they
becomes
know
more
you're
of
going to
this,
take care of them because they care about you. I care
right.
about
It kind
you.
of becomes like a conversation with a friend where you're like, oh yeah, I want to work with you, and that I need that. Yeah.
So don't change yourself over to feel like, okay, now I got to sell it. I've got to be aggressive and make sure that they get that sign on that dotted line, because if they say no, I'm going to be crushed and it's going to be terrible. And then if you have all that baggage in your head, that's going to come across like you're being forceful or intimidating. You're hoping they're going to say yes because they've gotten to know you and you built the relationship. And why wouldn't they want to work with you?
I love your acronym for salesy and the idea of changing the connotation for that. So I'll definitely have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I do a little bit of that in my book, in the at the end of my book, because I published my book, not really published it twice, but I did a refresh last year because I started talking to more women about this word. They kept bringing up that word salesy. Stop it. That's not even a word. We have to just get our mindset away from, I feel salesy. I don't think it's like you're probably not that person. You think that might be who you'll be if you try to sell something. So I decided to add that to the back of my book. There's a little worksheet, a little thing about thinking about how you perceive yourself when you say that word salesy, and how to change it.
Okay, that's great. So speaking of, you mentioned that their story is an important part of your authentic self. Was there, I know you did lots of sales from reading your book, but what was the tipping point for when you decided to go into coaching and training around, or coaching, I should say, around the sales and confidence?
Because I started talking to women more about, hey, tell me about your business, or I would talk about what I do. And I started getting all these negative phrases thrown around. Oh, I'm not a salesperson. Oh, I could never do what you do. Oh, I don't like to sell. I can't ask for the money. Oh, I'm not an expert at that. And I thought, what is this negativity out there?
Yeah.
So I decided I was going to make it my mission to start changing, especially women who feel they're not worthy in just whatever way. There's a lot of that being thrown around out there, those phrases. And I just decided I want to make it my mission to help them feel better about themselves. I think having a positive attitude, number one, in general, is really important to get through life. And if you read my book, you notice that I've been through some health issues while I've been selling, and trying to find a way to overcome what you're dealing with in life and moving forward and trying not to get your worries in the way, and knowing that things will work out if you just have a positive attitude. So I think positivity in today's world is really hard sometimes when there's so much going on around us that can affect how we feel on our day to day, especially if we have a job. So I just want people to know positivity can overcome a lot of that negative stuff that surrounds us and that we tend to pick up.
That's definitely a good point to remember. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure, you talk
I
about positivity with wellness, that's for sure.
definitely. So you've all already given us several tips to think about, like the word salesy, and not being afraid to ask for money because you're worth it, because of several reasons that you suggested. And
Yes.
you just mentioned the latest little tidbit too about being positive. Are there any other tips that are your favorite that you would like to include? I just wondered if we left anything out that you wanted to share about your favorites, tips, or.
I guess the other tips I would say is people aren't going to know about you unless you're out there. You need to be out there talking about things and just being known. I think we're lucky now that we're able to get out more in person than we did a few years ago. I think it's great to have Zoom meetings and get to know people, especially if they're not local. So get on those. There are so many opportunities out there to be known, get to be known virtually with these bigger groups that are like around the country. There's a lot of women's groups out there who you can start getting to know people and they'll help you. I've been able to appear on podcasts as guests because a lot of women out there have them going on. I wouldn't know about them unless I was networking. And then locally, get to be known as the person who does something. You need to meet so and so because she does this and she's the best at that. And the more you get to know her, you'll understand her business more. You want to be connected when you're out there too, so people can see you and say, Oh, I see her at all these events. She really knows what she's doing because I've talked to her many times. You need to meet her. You need to not be afraid to put yourself out there. I think one of the other big things that women worry about is walking into a room and feeling like I don't know anybody, or they feel like there are too many men circling that are maybe intimidating because they look like they know it all. And who am I? What do I know? So that confidence thing, you have it, it's in there. I tell people I love going to networking events, but I have to take a deep breath when I walk in, and I feel the same way as everybody else does. But I know in the end, after it's over, I will have met, even if it's just, it depends how many people are in the room. If there's 100 people in the room, oh my gosh, I know that's overwhelming. If you can come out with 5 quality conversations, or even if you go, I had a networking event I went to today. There were probably 20 people there, but I had a really high quality conversation with one person in particular who I think I can open some doors for with my business. And I felt really good about it after I left because, oh, I got to go to this networking thing. I don't know who I'm going to meet. I'm going to have to introduce myself, tell them about what I do. And really, once you just get used to doing that and you leave and you say, I met some quality people today that I'm going to follow up with. That's another key item.
Mhm.
You have to follow up with people and don't expect them to follow up with you first because they may
Mhm.
not. And you may never see them again, or they may never remember you if you wait for 2 weeks. So follow up with people that you meet, even if it's, you may not do business with them, but at least you had a conversation and you seem to have something in common. Have coffee, do something after that. So that's what I love about in person, because you can get to the next meeting and do something in person and you have that experience of being in the room with them. But you can have follow-ups with other people you meet virtually. But that's a key element of developing relationships, is the follow-up.
That is so true. And you bring up several more great points. Thank you for sharing all this because it
I could
is,
go on and on.
I'm surprised that you're still a little bit uneasy or whatever you want to call it when you go into a room because you do a lot of networking. But I'm very thankful that you shared that too because you are being authentic.
Yeah. If you keep going to places that you know people, then you get a little bit more relaxed when you walk in the room. But you do walk into places where, there are other people that may feel like, I don't know who to meet, who to look to. He's afraid to do that eye contact. But once you do the eye contact, usually the other person feels, hey, I want to be brought into your world and let's meet each other. So there's a lot of body language and things that you can look
Mhm.
for. It's just like people that go on stage. When you think about actors, how many actors do you hear that are interviewed saying they're a nervous wreck when they get on stage until they get into it and then they're good. But people get butterflies just like anybody else, that they have a speaking role or they're on stage, because basically you are technically on stage when you're walking in the door, get that attention. And then what's she going to say? How she, and you have to look the part. Look like what you represent. We're all used to being at home and not being like totally professionally looking, but honestly, it makes a difference because people make a judgment about you within the first 3 seconds. Is she professionally representing herself? Would I want to work with that person? Does she look like she cares about how she looks and how she's, especially if you have a product for wellness? I don't know. I don't know. What does a wellness person look like that, but technically you're still a business person.
You can look like a fitness coach and still look professional. Yes,
Exactly. Yeah.
yes.
So all those things come into play.
Okay, definitely good stuff. Yeah, networking in person is just a lot. I've been doing that more of that lately, and it does make a huge difference, not in just who you meet and how connected you're getting, but how you're feeling internally with your
Right.
confidence.
Don't think that you have to sell that moment that you meet that person. And
Mhm.
sometimes people go into all the details about their business and the widgets that they have and the things their features and all the things that are going on in their industry. And it's save that for the next meeting because that's going to lead
Right.
into buy my product. Let's get to know me first, because that's a turnoff if people they get bored hearing all those details about what it is. And, I kind of like to tell you more about everything I do, and I want to hear more about what you do. And let's get together and that sort of thing. So save the sales part for the next meeting or the meeting after that.
Okay, Jean, you have an awesome event coming up. So do you want to share a little bit about that?
I do. I'm going out on a limb because I've attended many women's confidence conferences, not confidence, but just like women's conferences that have speakers about different aspects of building your business or confidence, empowerment, that sort of thing. So a fellow businesswoman in town, Rochelle Roner, and we are holding our own conference. And we are going to talk about confidence, empowerment, presentation skills, sales confidence. And it's a partial day long event in Frederick, and it's called Rise and Radiate, a confidence and empowerment experience for women. We're going to have a few hours of pumping you up, giving you ideas about how to set goals, how to move forward with your business, how to feel more empowered, confident in all the different aspects of what you do. And it's on April 10th. Here in Frederick, there is a fee to attend, but we do have some early bird pricing for tickets. And if you'd like to learn more about it, we are on Eventbrite, and we're out there in the Facebook and LinkedIn, so you can find the event there as well.
Yeah, and I'll share that link here too.
Perfect.
I think it's going to be an amazing event. I'm excited, looking forward to it, and I encourage you guys to go if that sounds like something you could benefit from.
And the networking, there's networking involved, and it's not going to be like 100 women. We're hoping for a nice sized crowd that is manageable, that you can meet women and have more quality conversations, connections, maybe have do future business with somebody that you meet there. I think it's going to be a great day. And thank you, Natalie, for inviting me to do this with you today.
Sure, no problem. Happy to do that and let people know more about what you do, because so many people need your. Thanks so much for your time and all the suggestions you already provided for us, Jean. And yeah, that's going to wrap up today's Wellbeing Provider Spotlight. So thanks for watching. Check out the links below for more info.